Today I'm going to show you a recipe that is dear to my heart. My mom used to take me out for ABC chicken, almond boneless chicken, all the time for my birthday, and it took me years to find this recipe. We used to go to a little local Chinese shop, and this was my go-to recipe. I'm going to share it here today because I finally figured it out. All right, so this is gonna be a process. I promise it's 100% worth it, but it does require a lot of prep. I'm gonna go over everything. I'm gonna take you on a little tour through my kitchen because it's all set up behind me, and we're gonna go over all the ingredients, all the equipment that you need. If you notice from the screen, it's a lot, but totally something worth doing. So do this, and I promise you'll enjoy this recipe. Maybe just make it once a year during Lunar New Year or something. But it is a really good recipe, really fun, and it's just different. All right, the first thing we're gonna go over here is my oil station. Now, if you can use peanut oil because it is definitely worth it. And you also wanna get this heated up so that you have it ready and nice and hot when you are, because once you start dredging that chicken, you need to be able to put it in right away. So go ahead and turn on your oil. So mine is in my Dutch oven, and it is about an inch thick of oil. I also have somewhere here to put the chicken after I have taken it out of the oil. It's just a dirty cooking sheet with some paper towels and a cookie tray, and then also a plate here that I can set my tongs or anything else that I need to set down. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my stove to a medium heat so that that can warm up. And then you're going to want to prepare all of your chicken. I have thin sliced this. If you are not comfortable doing it across the breast like this, just do tenderloin type cuts, or if you don't want to do that at all, buy the tenderloins. All right, for the sauce, you're going to need obviously a saucepan. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of cornstarch along with 3 tablespoons of water that you're going to mix together and just set those off to the side. You're going to need 3 cups of chicken broth, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and a ½ teaspoon of salt. So that's for your gravy. All right, this is going to be your dry drudge. You need a bowl to put everything in. You need 1 cup of almond flour, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons of pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of onion powder. All right, this is going to be for your wet drudge. You're going to need another large bowl. You're going to need another cup of almond flour, another 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 2 cans of a sparkling water, okay, and 1 egg beaten. Now to serve this, you serve it over a bed of iceberg lettuce, and then you put the chicken on top and the gravy. Then you can top with some almonds and some green onions. So I'm going to show you guys how we're going to cut the lettuce. I'm just going to scooch this stuff out of the way. So grab your iceberg lettuce and this bulb here on the bottom. You're going to smash it and it will break and detach itself from the core. So, and then you just pull this out. Voila. Okay, from there, we're gonna cut this guy in half. And I take out the bitter yellow on the inside. You don't have to do this because bitter is better, but my kids won't eat it. If it's too bitter, they complain that the lettuce is yucky. From there, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to slice long rectangles, basically. Not super thin, probably about 1/4 of an inch thick. Take off any yucky parts that you see. From here, I'm going to just cut down the center. And then from here, go ahead and put it in your salad spinner and clean it off, or wash. If you don't have a salad spinner, just use a strainer and just rinse this off. Lay it on a bed of paper towels and let it dry for a little bit. Kind of shake it a little bit, and then you can put it in your bowl for when you're ready to serve. All right, so once your lettuce is all done and cut, just go ahead and set that aside. We're gonna get started on our gravy while we're still waiting for our oil. I'm gonna pour in my chicken stock here. Gonna pour in our soy sauce with that, our apple cider vinegar, and our salt. Gonna give that a good stir. And then we're just gonna set that aside with our cornstarch and our water. You can go ahead and mix this together and just leave it in your container that you've mixed it in and just set it off to the side. We don't wanna add it in yet. Okay, our oil is almost ready. It's about 3:15 right now. So we're gonna start mixing together our dredges. So this is gonna be our dry dredge. You're gonna take your flour, your almond flour, and all of your spices. And you're just gonna whisk that together until it's all combined. Okay, go ahead and set that aside and grab all your ingredients for your wet dredge. All right, take your other big bowl, take your flour, your cornstarch, your almond flour, your baking powder, your garlic powder, and then I'm going to mix this first before I add in my wet, just because I want to make sure it's really well combined. Okay, go ahead and add in your whole egg. And then with the soda, we're just gonna start with 1 can, or your sparkling water. I'm gonna add this in. And we're gonna mix it to see how wet it is. You're looking for a paste, something that is still kind of sticky and runny, but not so runny that it doesn't hold. So this right here kind of is cookie doughy to me. It's too thick. So I'm gonna open my other can and we're gonna just slowly add in about 1/4 of the can and stir each time. Okay, pretty good. Okay, we're still a little thick, so we're gonna add in a little bit more, another 1/4. Woo! Don't get carried away. All right, see how much smoother that is? And I can kind of do this, okay? That's what we're looking for. Okay, if you went too far, just add in a little bit more flour and a little bit more almond flour and you should be fine. Okay? All right, we are ready to go. Let's check our oil. All right, so our oil is about 350, and so we're gonna get started. All right, so our oil is ready. Go ahead and grab another plate, or if you have room by your stove, you can do this all over there. I'm gonna do it here to show you guys so that you know. So you're going to take your chicken, okay, and you're going to dredge it in your wet. Get it nice and coated. We are going to get dirty, okay? And then you're going to dredge it in your dry. I try to use one hand for one and one hand for the other. And if you notice, I'm always backwards here with my left and my right. I actually use both my hands. It feels awkward sometimes. And then go ahead and lay that on your plate. Two to three pieces, depending on the size of the pan that you have and the amount. You don't want to overcrowd your oil. So this does take some time. Okay. All right, I'm going to meet you over at the oil. All right, so each time you just want to check your oil and make sure it's back up to temperature before starting another round. And you want to be very careful when you put this in. You're going to lay it down, but then where you would let go is away from your body so that you don't have the oil splash back on your hand. So I lay and then I let go far away from my body. And that's also why you don't want to overcrowd your pan. You want to have enough room for you to be able to safely do this. All right, so I went ahead and turned these over. That was about 3 minutes. We'll do another 3 minutes and then we will take them out and check them. All right, I'm gonna take these out. So let it drip for a minute and then transfer it to your tray, making sure that your tray is kind of close so that you don't drip any oil on the stove. I'm gonna get my next batch ready and keep going. I will check these guys in just a second just to make sure. You do want your chicken to be about 185. Little hard to test with your digital thermometer if you have one of those because of how thin you cut them. So I just go ahead and cut mine open with a knife and check it that way, and then I can stick my thermometer in the center. All right, so to check your chicken, I usually check the first batch just to make sure, and then I know exactly how long to cook the rest of my pieces of chicken. So we're just gonna cut this guy in half. And then you can take your digital thermometer and just stick it in the center of that breast so you know exactly where it's at. And then just make sure you're up to the right temperature, which is 185 for chicken. You wanna continue cooking them at the same temperature so that they are nice and done. You also want to make sure that your oil comes back up to temperature before you add that next batch. All right, so once you're about halfway through with your chicken, go ahead and get your gravy on the burner. We want this to be warm when we serve it. I'm going to take my cornstarch here and put it into my bowl and my water. And we're just going to take a fork and just whisk that really well until it's all combined together. Okay, once that is well combined, then we're going to go ahead and pour it into our gravy mixture that we already mixed together. And now we are just going to turn this on to a medium high and bring it up to a boil. You ready? All right, once that kind of comes to a boil, just give it a really good stir. Leave it for about a minute on boil and stay close and keep stirring. Once it is done, go ahead and turn it off and pour it into like a Pyrex or a gravy dish that you have. This gravy actually makes or breaks this recipe. It really is where a lot of the flavors come. There's not going to be a whole lot of flavor in the crust of the chicken, so this flavor comes from this gravy and you're really going to enjoy it. All right, while we're finishing up there, I'm going to show you guys how to cut these and plate them. So you're just going to take your knife and you're going to cut long-ish rectangles. Make sure your knife is sharp. It's got a good crunch to it. Now, if you're doing this for like a dinner party or friends or your family, then just go ahead and plate individually. I'm going to show you how to serve it on a platter and then just let everybody scoop from there. So I've got my bed of lettuce here on my tray. I'm going to take my chicken breasts and just lay them on different spots of my lettuce bed here. All right, from there, we're going to grab our gravy and our almonds and our green onions. The green onions are optional. You don't have to do that. We're going to take our gravy and we're just going to ladle it right over the top of this chicken and lettuce. Like I said, this gravy really makes this dish. Some people would call this a salad. I don't know. It's got lettuce on it. Okay. You're welcome to add more gravy if they want more on their plate. That's totally fine. Then take your almonds and sprinkle those on top. And your green onions. There you go. ABC chicken, almond boneless chicken for dinner tonight. This will be such a special treat. I hope you and your family enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one.